Hello everyone, welcome to today's class, and in this video we are going to be solving at least 15 JAMB questions based on this chemistry topic, which is acid, bases and salt. And if you're just coming across my YouTube channel for the very first time, my name is Basi Ejoba, and in my channel I help students level up the academic game. So if you are ready to level up the academic game, to smash your JAMB UTME, your WAEC, your NECO, please don't forget to hit on the red subscribe button and also share my videos to your friends so that they can come here and get value. And without wasting much time, we are going to be hitting straight to the very first question, which is here on the board. And it says, which of the following is a strong acid? Which of the following is a strong acid? The first thing you have to get in your mind is, what is the meaning of what a strong acid? Knowing fully well that we have two types of acid, we have a weak acid and we have a strong what acid. And we know that strong acid are acids, are this type of acid that what dissolves completely in what water. They ionizes completely in what water. So you say, which of the following is what a strong acid? So we underline this keyword, which is known as what strong what acid. So we have A here, which is ethanoic acid. We have A, ethanoic acid. We have B, carbonic acid. We have C, hydrochloric acid, and we have D, phosphoric what acid. So ethanoic, carbonic acid, hydrochloric acid, and D, which is what phosphoric what acid. Which of the following is what a strong acid? And I said it dissolves what completely in the presence of what water. The correct answer there is what C, which is what hydrochloric what acid. Hydrochloric acid is a strong acid. It's a very strong corrosive what acid that dissolves what completely in water. And when we mean completely dissolving in water, is that it releases all its what hydrogen what ion. It gives out all its what hydrogen what ion. While for the ethanoic acid, the carbonic acid and the phosphoric acid, they don't completely give out their what ions. Let's move on to question number 2. It says a base that dissolves in water. Base that dissolves in what water is called A, salt, B, alkali, C, neutral base, and D, amphoteric substances. We have a base that dissolves in what water is what A, salt, B, alkali, C, neutral base, and D, what amphoteric what acid. The correct answer there is what B, which is what alkali. Alkali is an example of what bases that would, or it's a type of bases that would dissolve in what water. So base that dissolve in water are known as what alkalis, because not all type of bases dissolve in what water. And this is where people used to get it confused, because they used to get confused not knowing the difference between alkali and what base. But note that the type of base that dissolves in water, it does not mean alkalis are not bases. Alkali are what bases, but these are type of bases that dissolves in what water. So bases that dissolves in water are known as what alkalis. So question number 3 says the pH, that is a hydrogen concentration of 0.01 mole of what hydrochloric acid is. The pH of what 0.01 mole hydrochloric acid is A, 1, B, 2, C, 3, and D, 4. How may I solve my hydrogen concentration, that is pH? Is basically, this is what I do when it comes to pH. That is the logarithm. You understand? The logarithm of that is just a power of 10, right? So I just do something like this. Most of the time, what I just do, I say pH. I just say pH equals to log. I open my bracket and I put in the number. You understand? So I can just say pH equals to log 0.01. You understand? So with this, you are going to get 2. Punch this in your calculator, you are going to get what 2. So the pH of 0.01 of what hydrochloric acid is what 2. So that is the answer. Punch it in your calculator and drop in the comment section if I'm actually correct, because I'm doing this with no calculator. Question number 4. It says, which of the following is amphoteric? Which of the following is amphoteric? Now, when we talk about the concept of amphoteric in chemistry, when it comes to acid, base, and salt, we are simply talking about amphoteric oxides. And amphoteric oxides are types of oxides that can react with both acid and base. So amphoteric oxide is a type of oxide that can react with an acid and it can also react with what? A base. So that is what the question is saying. It says, which of the following is what? Amphoteric. We have A, sodium oxide, we have B, magnesium oxide, and we have C, which is alumina, and we have D, which is what? Potassium what? Oxide. All right, so this is aluminium oxide, and we have potassium what? Oxide. Aluminium oxide is also known as alumina, and it is responsible for the making. They use it to make ceramics. So alumina is another name for what? Aluminium what? Oxide. So which of the following is what? Amphoteric what? Oxide. We have sodium oxide, magnesium oxide, aluminium oxide, and what? D, which is what? Potassium what? Oxide. The correct answer there is what? C, which is what? Aluminium what? Oxide. We have question number 5. It says, which gas turns, so say this is the correct answer. Now it says, which gas turns blue litmus paper red? Which of these gas turn moist blue litmus paper what? Red? Please forget about this moist blue litmus paper. We already know that blue litmus paper, what turns blue litmus paper red is what? Acid. And a base turns what? Red litmus paper what? Blue. Says, which gas turns blue litmus paper what? Red? Please forget about the concept of what? This what? Moist. Right? So we have A, we have what? A, we have ammonia. B, we have hydrochloric acid. C, we have carbon dioxide. And D, we have what? Sulfate. We have what? Sulfate. So which of these gas turns what? Moist blue litmus paper what? Red? The correct answer there is what? B, which is what? Hydrochloric what? Acid. Now hydrochloric acid dissolve in what? Moist what? Blue litmus paper to give us what? Hydrochloric what? Acid. You understand? It dissolves to give us what? Hydrochloric acid. And we know that acid will turn what? Blue litmus paper what? Red. So the correct answer there is what? HCl. Question number 6, it says, which of these is what? A basic what? Salt. Which of these is a basic salt? We have A, sodium chloride. We have B, sodium bicarbonate. We have D, ammonium chloride, and we have D, magnesium chloride. It says, which of these is what? A basic what? Salt. The correct answer there is what? B, which is what? Sodium what? Bicarbonate. Sodium bicarbonate is formed using what? Is formed by what? H2SO4 plus Na what? OH. Which of these is what? A basic salt. H2SO4 is what? A weak acid. H2SO4 is a weak acid plus sodium hydroxide, which is what? A strong what? Base. Sodium hydroxide, which is what? A strong what? Base. So this is how we get what? A basic what? Salt. Right? The reaction of an acid and a base will always give us what? Salt. So to get a basic salt, it is what? A weak acid plus what? A strong what? Base. And the correct answer here is what? The correct answer here is what? Sodium what? Bicarbonate, which is what? Option what? B. Question number 7 says, which indicator is suitable for titrating strong acid versus what? Strong what? Base? Which indicator is suitable for what? Titrating strong acid versus what? Strong what? Base? So let's assume, or let's draw our range here. We have our strong base to be at what? 14, and we have our strong acid to be as what? 1, and we have our neutral to be what? 7, right? So which indicator is suitable for titrating strong acid versus this what? Strong what? Base? We have A, methyl orange, B, phenolphthalein, C, litmus, and D, universal what? Indicator. A, methyl orange, B, phenolphthalein, C, litmus, and D, what? Universal what? Indicator. The correct answer there is what? Universal what? Indicator. The correct answer is what? Universal what? Indicator. The universal indicator has what? A long what? Range to be able to what? Indicate the presence of what? A strong acid and the presence of what? A strong what? Base. So when you are titrating, or the best indicator to use when checking out between a strong acid and a strong base is what? The universal what? Indicator. Question number 8 says, what is the conjugate base of what? Hydrogen what? Sulfate? what is a conjugate base of hydrogen sulfate? When we talk about the concept of what hydrogen sulfate, or when we talk about the concept of a conjugate base, right, it is simply when an acid loses what an hydrogen what ion. So acid, when we say conjugate base is simply conjugate base equals to what acid losses what hydrogen what ion. So that is basically what a conjugate base is what all about. And we have options here on the board. We have A, sulfate, raised to the power what 2 what minus, that is more than 1, that is more than what 1, right? So we have B, hydrogen what sulfate, raised to the power what minus, that is minus 1. We have what C, hydroxide, and we have D, hydrogen what sulfate plus what raised to the power what plus. The correct answer here, based on the definition which I have just given you, is what B, which is what hydrogen what sulfate, which is what minus, right? Which is what minus. So we'll talk about the concept of what conjugate base in what chemistry is when an acid loses what hydrogen what ion. So at this particular time, this is what we are what getting. So there's a loss of what hydrogen what ion. We have question number 9. It says carbonates. We have carbonates react with hydrochloric acid. Carbonates react with hydrochloric acid to produce. Carbonate reacts with hydrochloric acid to produce A, we have sodium hydroxide. B, we have carbon dioxide. C, we have ammonia. And D, we have hydrogen peroxide. So carbonate react with what hydrochloric acid to produce. For we to actually get this, we have to balance this equation. So let's bring out this in an equation format where we have our Na2C, we have our Na2CO3 plus what hydro what chloric, sorry, plus our what hydro what chloric, giving us a forward what reaction. So at this particular time, carbonate reacting with what hydrochloric acid, the first thing we are going to have here, we are going to have our sodium chloride. We are going to have our sodium chloride. After having our sodium chloride, we are going to get our water. It's going to give us water, and it's also going to give us what carbon dioxide. It's also going to give us what carbon dioxide. But when you look at this equation, you find out that this equation is not what balanced, right? Because at this particular point in time, we have 2 molecules of what sodium, 1 molecules of carbon, 3 molecules of oxygen, and this is in our reactants. But in our product, we're having what 1 molecule of what sodium. So for we to balance this, let's see how we can balance this equation. Let's see how we can balance what this equation. So let's input our 2, right? So we have 2 molecules of what sodium. At this particular time, sodium is what already what balanced. Our carbon here, our carbon is balanced, right? Our carbon is balanced. Our oxygen is also balanced. We have 3 molecules of what oxygen. Then our hydrogen, we have 2 molecules of hydrogen in the reactant, and we have 1 molecules of hydrogen in the reactant, and we are now having 2 molecules of hydrogen in the product. And for the chlorine here, so our chlorine is also not balanced, so let's put in 2 here. So at this particular point in time, we are having 2 molecules of hydrogen in the reactant, 2 molecules of hydrogen in the product, and 2 molecules of hydrogen in 2 molecules of chlorine in the reactant, and 2 molecules of chlorine in the product. So at this point in time, the correct answer is what option what B, carbon dioxide. So we have question number 10. It says a solution with pH 5 is A, strongly acidic, B, weakly acidic, C, neutral, and D, weakly what alkaline. A solution with what pH 5 is. So before we get this, let's draw our table. This is where we are going to get the ranges. So with a straight line, we are going to have 14, and we are going to have 1, and we are going to have what 7. So 1 is known as strongly acidic, 1 is known as strongly acidic, and 14 is known as what strongly what alkaline, right? So 14 is what strongly what alkaline, and 7 is our neutral. So a solution with pH 5. So what we are going to have here is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So a solution with a pH 5 is actually what? Weakly what? Acid. Is a weak what? Acid. Because when it comes to strong acid, it must have a pH of what? 1 to 3 for it to be what? A strong what? Acid. And for it to be a strong alkaline also, the pH must be from what? 12 to what? 14. The pH must be 12 to 14 for it to be what? A strong what? Base. So for this, a weak acid, a pH with what? Solution 5, a solution, sorry, with a pH 5 is what? Weakly what? Acid. So it's a weak what? Acid. We have question number 11. It says salt formed from strong acid plus strong base. So what we have in here is what? A strong acid reacting with what? A strong base. So for example, let's take our strong acid, which is what? Hydrochloric acid, plus our strong base, which is what? Sodium what? Hydroxide. All right. So at this particular point in time, what we are going to be having is sodium chloride. Right. We are going to have our sodium what? Chloride, and it reacts what? Completely. It reacts what? Completely. So a salt formed from strong acid plus strong base is what? Neutral. A salt from what? From strong acid plus a strong base is what? Neutral. So for question number 10, the answer is what? B, which is what? Weak what? Acid. Then we have question number 12. It says, which of the following is not a property of acid? Which of the following is not a property of what? Acid. So we are asking about the characteristics of what? Acid. We have A sour taste. We have B, turns blue litmus paper what? Red. C, we have what? A slippery what? Feel. And we have D, reacting with what? Metals. Right. So which of the following is not a property of what? Acid. Now note, acid has what? A sour what? Taste. So option A is what? Correct. Also note that acid turns what? Blue litmus paper what? Red. And C, which is what? Slippery what? Feel. Acid does not have what? A slippery what? Feel. Right? So a slippery feel is a characteristic of what? Bases. So bases have what? A slippery what? Feel. And D, reaction with what? Metals. Acid react with what? Metals in order to give us what? Salt and water. Right? So for this particular question, which is question 12, which of the following is not a property of acid? The correct answer is what? Slippery what? Feel, which is what? Option what? C. We have question number 13. It says, which acid is used in batteries? Which acid is used in batteries? A, we have nitric acid. B, we have what? Sulfate. C, we have what? Hydrochloric acid. And we have what? D, which is what? Ethanoic what? Acid. So here is your hydrogen sulfate, hydrochloric acid, and what? Ethanoic what? Acid. The acid that is used in batteries is what? The what? Hydrogen what? Sulfate. That is a type of acid that is used in batteries. We have question number 14. Which gas is released when a metal reacts with what? An acid. Which gas is released when a metal reacts with what? Acid. A, we have carbon dioxide. B, we have sulfite. C, we have what? Hydrogen gas. And D, we have what? Oxygen. The gas that is released when a metal reacts with an acid is what? Hydrogen what? Gas. So we have what? Our acid. We have our acid plus metal. Our acid plus metal is going to give us what? Salt plus what? Hydrogen what? Gas. So we are going to have our salt plus what? Hydrogen what? Gas. So this is the type of gas that is released when a metal reacts with what? Acid is what? Hydrogen what? Gas. And the last question is, which of these is what? A weak acid? A, hydrochloric acid. B, nitric acid. C, hydrogen sulfate. And D, ethanoic acid. The correct answer there is what? Ethanoic what? Acid. Ethanoic acid is a weak acid because it does not ionize this what? Completely. Ethanoic acid, which is option D, is a weak acid because it does not what? Ionize what? Completely. So this is where we are going to end it in this particular segment, which is what? 15 JAMB questions based on what? Acid, base, and what? Salt. If you find this video helpful, please don't forget to hit on the red subscribe button, and also share this video to your friends so they can come here and get value. Please subscribe because I'll be dropping series of videos like this, past questions covering all the topics in chemistry, biology, and physics. And until I see you in my next video, always remember that you are wonderful, always remember that you are unique, and always remember that you're a pace setter. I really love you. Thank you.